Okay, what does it actually take to engineer the perfect cinematic mystery in just 60 seconds? Today, we're deconstructing a highly specific blueprint for a short-form thriller called The Elevator That Went Below Zero. We're going to dive right into the narrative script, the visual style requirements, and the rigorous editing formula that all combine to create, well, pure suspense. If you've ever wondered how a short script grabs your attention literally instantly, this explainer is your masterclass.
Picture this. You open an app, and you're immediately hit with this exact, chilling premise within the very first 2 seconds. The source material outlines this precise opening line. Every night, at exactly 2:13 a.m., an elevator in an abandoned hotel started moving by itself. Notice how it doesn't waste any time with a long setup. It gives us a highly specific, eerie time and an impossible action. A security guard decides to investigate and steps right into this autonomous machine. The hook is completely set before you even have a chance to scroll away. And this brilliantly illustrates how a simple, stripped-down script can quickly corner an audience. Later on in the story, the guard hears his own voice from behind one of hundreds of identical doors. First, the voice says, "Don't open the door." He completely freezes. And then, a whisper, "You already did." It's an inescapable paradox. It totally plays on that primal fear of having already made a fatal mistake without even realizing it yet.
All right, part one, the Midnight Elevator Mystery, establishing the hook. To understand why this 60-second prompt works so incredibly well, we really need to look at how it establishes its core narrative mystery and systematically breaks down the rules of the real world. Here's the catch. The crucial point is how the script takes a totally mundane action, a security guard checking out a moving elevator and pressing the lowest floor, and immediately shatters physical reality. The script tells us the screen reads B1, B2, B3. But wait, there's a massive problem. The hotel only has 2 basement floors, and the numbers? They just keep counting down. B4, B5, B6. It's literally a terrifying visual anomaly. The physical space we understand is suddenly swapped out for this impossible descending abyss.
Moving right along to step 2, scripting the impossible descent and escalating the tension. Let's look at the actual narrative structure here and see how it ratchets up the tension step by step.
By pacing the descent into 3 distinct phases, the script essentially traps you in that elevator right alongside the security guard. First, you have the mundane investigation past the known floors. Simple enough. Second, the impossible descent where the environment actually starts reacting. The script specifically demands that the lights begin flickering rapidly as it plunges past B4, B5, and B6. And third, the arrival. The elevator finally grinds to a halt at B13. The doors open to reveal a long, dark, underground hallway packed with hundreds of identical doors. That leads right into that chilling dialogue sequence where every single door suddenly opens at the exact same time and the elevator doors just violently slam shut.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how the script leaves a physical lingering artifact of the horror in the real world. It creates this perfect haunting loop. The instructions dictate that the next morning, everything is totally normal. The nightmare seems like it's over, right? But then, you get the final twist. The elevator now physically has a brand new button for B13, and crucially, nobody remembers installing it. It blurs the line between the paranormal event and waking reality, leaving a permanent scar on the everyday world.
Of course, a killer script needs a killer visual atmosphere. So Section 3, building a cinematic atmosphere and visual mechanics. The source gives us highly specific instructions on how this should look and feel, so let's break down those exact aesthetic requirements.
The instructions are explicitly demanding highly atmospheric elements. We aren't just in some random building, we're in an abandoned luxury hotel at night. That harsh contrast between past opulence and current decay is absolutely vital. We're talking atmospheric fog rolling across the floor, dramatic shadows, glowing floor numbers cutting through the dark, and ultra-realistic CGI. Every single visual cue, right down to the suspenseful lighting and the worn-out details of the old elevator, is designed to visually hammer home that feeling of deep isolation and dread.
Utilizing the 9:16 vertical format, which was specifically requested in the source text, is absolutely essential here. Think about the shape of an elevator shaft for a second, or an elevator door, or a narrow, dark hallway. The vertical framing is perfect because it forces your entire field of vision to be consumed by this claustrophobic environment on a mobile screen. There's no peripheral vision to escape into. You are boxed in exactly like our security guard.
But look, story and visuals are really nothing without pacing. That brings us to part 4, the mathematics of editing and controlling the pace. A thriller truly lives and dies in the edit, and this prompt outlines some rigorous constraints.
This timeline beautifully lays out the mathematical formula provided in the blueprint.
You hook them instantly within the first 2 seconds with that 2:13 a.m. premise. Then you have to maintain a relentless driving pace. The editor is instructed to use quick cuts every 2 to 3 seconds. What this means is the viewer's eye never actually gets a chance to rest, and that creates a subconscious feeling of intense anxiety and urgency. And finally, the resolution, a 1-second freeze frame on that newly materialized B13 button. It's an abrupt, chilling halt to all that frantic pacing.
To maximize audience retention, the instructions say to layer bold English captions over a highly specific soundscape. The audio notes call for deep suspense music, the mechanical, grinding sound effects of the old elevator, and subtle whispers to accompany the guard's dialogue. Most importantly, the script dictates the use of dramatic pauses. Now think about it. In a 60-second format, a pause is a massive commitment of time. That shows you exactly how important silence is for building a sense of impending doom right before that final scare.
All right, bringing it all together for Part 5, Anatomy of a Thriller, the Final Synthesis. When we combine this relentless script, the claustrophobic visual requirements, and that rhythmic mathematical editing, we get the complete anatomy of a perfect short-form thriller.
This single, impossible floor number becomes the entire anchor of the mystery. It just goes to show that you do not need a massive, sprawling Hollywood narrative to create terror. You just need highly focused constraints, a mundane setting, an impossible anomaly, layered sensory details, and an ending that leaves physical proof of the impossible. That B13 button is the entire story, distilled into a single terrifying image.
So, you've now seen the exact recipe for a 1-minute thriller. The precision of the hook, the claustrophobia of the visual style, and the relentless editing math. The blueprint is literally right in front of you. As we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this. What impossible mystery are you going to build?